Hello everyone, this is Group 13, represented by Ronald, Garcia and Jose Maceira. Today we're going to discuss and show how to create a Tic Tac Toe game using C programming. As everyone should know, Tic Tac Toe is a game in which two players alternatively put X's and O's in compartments of a figure formed by two vertical lines crossing two horizontal lines. The player who succeeds in placing three of their marks in a horizontal, vertical, or diagonal row is the winner. If no one succeeds, then it is a tie. The code we're going to explain today is going to have three main parts. First, the main function. Second, a user-defined function called check-win. And last, another user-defined function called board. First of all, we have to say that we encounter multiple ways of creating a tic-tac-toe game using C programming. We decided to use this one because we think it is better to explain and it works in a very effective way. Now, getting into the code. First of all, as you should know, we need to make sure to include this header file in the first line of our code, which stands for standard input-output, which has the information related to input-output functions. After that, we declare an array called square of character type with a size of 11. This will help us create the 9 spaces where we can put X's and O's respectively. In the next lines, we're going to write the function prototypes of these two user-defined functions, indicating to the compiler that these functions may be used later in the program. Then we begin with our main function. The first thing we're going to write in our main function is the declaration of 4 variables. The first 3 are going to be of integer type, player, height, and choice, and the fourth one is going to be of character type, mark. We are also going to assign the value 1 to the variable player. The variable player will store the values 1 and 2 alternatively to help us recognize which player turns is it and which player win at the end of the program. The variable choice will store the number of the square that the player selects, and the variable mark will store the X's and O's alternatively. We're going to discuss later what is the function of the variable I. The next thing in our main function will be a do-while loop. This loop will help players select in which square they want to put their marks. Inside this do-while loop, the first thing the program is going to do is call the user-defined function board, which, as I said before, will create the figure formed by two vertical lines crossing two horizontal lines. This is the body of the board function. The return type of this function is void, meaning no value is returned from the function. The first thing we're going to write in our board function is the system CLS statement. This statement makes the window command prompt clears the output screen of the program. This step is necessary if we want to see just one board with the actual progress of the game on the output screen. Otherwise, it will print all the previous boards and all of the players' marks in separate boards, just like this. Next, we're going to print 2 messages on the output screen. This is just for decoration. It will not affect the efficiency of our code. The first message is going to be the name of the game, and the other is going to let each player know which mark they are going to use. The next and most important thing of the board function is this code right here, which is going to print or imitate a 3x3 grid in which the players are going to place their marks. Here you can easily appreciate the 2 horizontal lines and the 2 vertical lines. You need to use spaces, underscores, and vertical bars to create this figure. You also need to make sure to add the same amount of spaces between each one of them to create a better design figure. We're also going to write between these vertical lines the values of the position 1 through 9 of the arrayed square and print them out on the screen to help the players indicate in which space they are going to put their marks. Now back to the do-while loop in our main function. The next thing we're going to write is this statement. This statement works to decide which player's turn is it, and this is basically saying that if player modulus 2 has a reminder, then it's player 1 turn, otherwise it's player 2 turn. Next, the program is going to print a message to let the players know whose turn is it, and to input the number of the space where they want to print their mark, which is going to be stored in variable choice. The next statement is going to decide which mark print in the output depending on the player's turn. This statement is saying that if it is player 1 turn, then the mark is going to be an X, otherwise it's going to be a no. The next lines are going to be a series of if-else statements which are going to decide which mark put on which space depending on the player's choice. For example, if the player inputs number 1, that number is going to be stored in the variable choice. If choice is equal to 1 and the position 1 in the array square is also equal to 1, then the value of the position 1 of the array square, in this case 1, is going to be changed for the corresponding mark. This is going to happen with every number from 1 through 9. If one player inputs a number different from 1 through 9 or repeats a number already in the board, the program will print the message invalid move. The line 54 will help us stay on the same player's turn until he enters a valid number, and the get statement will maintain the message invalid move until the player enters a valid number. Next, our program will call for the function check_win, which will return an integer and will store it on the variable I. This is the function check_win. Basically, this function will tell the main function if the game is over or if it is still in progress. This function has all the possibilities of how a player can win the game, or how it could end in a draw. If check_win function returns a 1, that means one of the players win. For example, here, if one player places his mark in the squares 1, 2, and 3, the check_win function will return 1 to the main function, ending the do-while loop, which can only end if I is not equal to -1, and declaring a winner. The while loop will also end if the check_win function returns a 0, which will end in a draw. If the check_win returns a -1, the do-while loop and the game will still in progress. In all of the cases, the statement in line 59 will work to change the turn of the players, and if it is already a winner, the line 65 will help us declare the correct winner and print it on the screen. If it is a draw, the message in line 67 will print in our output, ending the game. This is how our output will look at the beginning of the game. This is how it will look when a player wins, and this is how it will look when we have a draw. And this is how you create a tic-tac-toe game using C programming. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and learned something new today. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.